What's going on, golf addicts? DB here. It's the Open Championship, and we're talking three sleepers in DFS. I got three killers for you today. This is going to be interesting. All right. I'm going to start with the cheapest play at 7K. I'm going to work my way up a little bit. I think all three of these guys have winning upside as sleepers. They're all pretty much low owned, not getting a lot of love. There's reasons why, but there's also reasons to consider playing these boys. Let's get it started. Okay. The first guy is at $7,000 on DraftKings. He's projected to be about 3% owned, and he's a four-time PGA Tour winner. His name, Kevin Na. Now listen, Kevin Na's not a very likable dude. I get it, okay? He's a live tour guy, whatever. He's been a he's been a butthead to a couple players before. I don't really like Kevin Na personally, to be honest, but the guy's a killer. He's accurate off the tee, good approach player, good short game, ranks well in putting over long term, short term. Three putt avoidance is something I looked at a lot this week. You got to have touch around these greens and on these greens. Kevin Na has always been good at that. So let's open him up on Fantasy National, take a little bit of a deeper dive on everybody's favorite, Kevin Na. All right. All right. So let me share my screen here. Looking at Kevin Na's player profile, came historically very good in the wind, good in moderate wind, good in difficult, average, easy conditions, which is probably that runs the gamut of things that we could be looking at here in Scotland for the Open Championship at the Old Course. And you can see here, typically long term as a player, very good at everything. He just doesn't gain strokes off the tee. But in the firm and fast conditions of the Old Course, I don't think that's as big a deal. The Old Course is hard right now. It's very hard. The ground is hard. I played it 3.5 weeks ago. It was hard, and they've burned it out and browned it out since then. Just watching shots yesterday and today on practice round coverage, the ball's, dust and grass flying up when the ball lands. You don't have to be a bomber to play well here this week. Now, you're going to look here on Fantasy National. It's not going to have his live golf performances, but and you can say what you want to about the live golf stuff, right? About how competitive it is, about how hard these guys, the fields they're facing. He finished 11th in Portland. That's out of 48 players or whatever it is. It's not very good, but look at what he's done, like ball striking wise with the irons here, leading up to the departure from Live. I mean, starting at the Masters and then working his way up, gaining a lot of strokes with the irons. Like the iron play has been very solid for Kevin Na. The around the green play is always solid for Kevin Na. I love that, and the putter's usually pretty good. Like if he loses strokes with the putter, unlike this week here in Mexico, it's usually not by a lot, but typically a very strong putter. Let's look at the off the tee stuff for Kevin Na, because that's the thing. That's the big glaring strokes gain weakness in his game. Now, obviously, you can see historically the distance has never been there for Kevin Na, but historically, as a player, long term zooming out, he's very much an accurate driver of the golf ball. Although the last few events have not been great, you can see there's been a lot of green in Kevin Na's, fairways gain number on Fantasy National. Typically he's going to be a very accurate driver. So that's what we get with Kevin Na. Now, here's another thing that's interesting. Let me go back to he's made the cut in his last 5 Open Championships. Let's take a look at the Open Championship record here on Fantasy National. You can see here he last missed the cut in 2012. He did play here at the Old Course in 2015, where he finished 58th. T22 is his best finish at the Open Championship, which we like that. One thing I did notice that I thought was interesting on the line from a head to head betting line perspective is Ju Young Kim is the new South Korean that everybody's kind of got their eyeballs on. He's kind of come out hot. He just had a top 3 finish, I believe, at the Scottish Open. He's a young South Korean player, a lot of talent, and people are kind of buzzing about him. Well, right there, along with Ju Young Kim, is Kevin Na's price at 7K. I think Ju Young Kim may be in the 67 or 68. But I was looking at some lines. There's not a lot of lines on Kevin Na in terms of head-to-head lines, but an interesting one that you can find is against Ju Young Kim, and he opened in one book as a minus 150 favorite over Ju Young Kim, and then on another book, he actually opened as a slight dog to Ju Young Kim, but then has immediately been hammered pretty heavily. So now he is a favorite at minus 125 to plus 101 over Ju Young Kim. Now, in full transparency, he is also a dog, pretty heavy dog on both of those books to Keith Mitchell and Russell Henley. I'm not saying there's not warts with Kevin Na, but you get a 4-time PGA Tour winner who has a lot of major championship experience, who from a course fit standpoint, especially with that short game and his iron play, definitely can play well at the old course, tends to make cuts at an open championship. And obviously at 7K, you're looking for more than a made cut, but I do think Kevin Na is enough of a killer when he gets in contention. It wouldn't shock me if he had a top 5, top 10 finish here at the Open Championship, and even could win here. And you got to weigh the live golf stuff, which brings me to my next player. There's going to be a theme here, okay? Because I think the live golf guys are hated guys anyway. A lot of them, and people don't want to play him for whatever reason. I think that's going to suppress their ownership, and I kind of get it. Tiger said in his press conference, like, when you go into you take all that upfront money, are you really going to work that hard? Are you really going to practice? Are you really going to go down and dig it out of the dirt? I love that quote from Tiger, and the answer is probably not. But when it's the Open Championship and it's the 150th Open and it's the old course, I think these guys want to play well. They want to win. And honestly, some of these guys, I'm sure, are sitting there looking at each other and talking to each other and going, "Hey, wouldn't it really continue to disrupt things if a live golf player won the Open Championship with all the controversy, not letting Greg Norman show up, all that kind of stuff?" Like, I'm sure that's in there. And these guys are disruptors, a couple of them, right? The next one is definitely a disruptor, and he's a theme in my sleeper videos, and it's Patrick Reed. He's 7,300. He's projected around 5 or 6%. He's a major champion. Um, Definitely a dog, right? Definitely a guy who fits the golf course here at the old course. When you think about short game, you think about creativity around the greens and on the greens. You think about getting yourself out of trouble, bogey avoidance, bunker play, finesse, touch, three putt avoidance. All of that screams Patrick Reed. All right, and I love Patrick Reed in majors when he's low owned. He definitely gives you that upside. Let's take a look at him on Fantasy National. But before we do, I do want you to hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you've not already. And here's the comment I want you to drop. What do you like watching more on TV as a spectator, the Masters or the Open Championship? God, they're both so amazing. And I know it's easy to get caught up in the hype of the Open right now. And it's easier to get caught up in the hype when it's at St. Andrews. I think there's a difference in watching it at St. Andrews versus, like, Royal Birkdale or whatever. But let's say, what would you rather watch on TV? A major at St. Andrews or the Masters at Augusta National? Drop that in the comment section if you would. And also, don't forget the contest that we're having this week. And you can win. You can get up to 3 entries. And here's how you enter. You get 1 entry just by being a YouTube subscriber. If you're there already, congratulations, you have an entry. You get another entry by subscribing to the Heavy Petting and Chalk Bomb email list, which that link is in the description as well. If you're already a subscriber, guess what? Now you have 2 entries. And then the third way you can get an entry is by leaving a 5-star review and writing a review on Apple Podcasts and or Spotify. If you've already done that, you can go back in and do it again. Apple refreshes those. We would greatly appreciate it. You can win up to 3 entries, and the winner is going to get a free brand new tailor-made driver. And then we're going to pick 2 other winners to get $250 in free Prize Picks money. We're going to award that and announce those winners next week in the Chalk Bomb email for the 3M Open. So get in on that and leave a comment. What would you rather watch, the Open at St. Andrews or the Masters at Augusta National? All right, let's look at P. Reed here. You can see, obviously plays well in difficult conditions. Like, he thrives in these conditions, right? We did see him finish 49th at the US Open. That's, not his best. Let's see, what did he do in his first live golf event? I'm trying to remember. In Portland, he finished 3rd, runner up in Portland. Let's take a look at the major champ or the Open Championship record. Look at this. I mean, last time it was played here in 2015, finished 20th. He's got a 12th. He's got a 28th. He's got a 10th. Like, he loves the Open Championship. Like, I mean, this is a perfect spot for him. Look at his U.S. Open record. And I pull up the U.S. Open because it's like difficult. Got to be good around the green. Look at this, man. Like, the guy is a killer when it comes to major championships. Look at the PGA Championship. I mean, all this upside. If he weren't a live guy and we weren't all wrapped up about how much did these guys care, then he would be higher owned. He would be looked at. He looked at differently. Now, he hasn't had the best 2022. If you look here, it hasn't been tremendous by any means, but it does seem like it's been trending in the proper direction. Had a decent Players Championship, did okay at the Masters, PGA Championship T34, 7th at the Schwab. I think it's trending in the right direction for P. Reed. So that's really my sell on Patrick Reed. I also thought it was interesting. A lot of people, looking at these head-to-head lines, he was he opened as a -111 slight dog to -119 against Billy Horschel. The line was immediately bet on, and it's now flipped. He's a -121 favorite to Horschel at -109. So somebody, big money, early money, head-to-head bettors coming in on a market-making book on Patrick Reed's side against Billy Ho. Now that's Patrick Reed versus Billy Ho. That's not saying much. So, but I do think Reed gives you tremendous upside, winning upside at 6%. And he's the type of villain that would want to come out here after being a live golf guy and everybody going all, against him and just want to shut everybody up and win. Okay. All right. Before we get to my last pick, who definitely has winning upside, I want to thank our friends at Front Nine Coffee. Front9coffee.com is where you got to go. That's promo code TJ10 gets you 10% off any order that you put in there. It's small batch artisan coffee roasted after you place your order, whether you want whole bean or ground. It's gonna be fresh. They're gonna roast it after you order, then they're gonna ship it to you anywhere in the US and Canada within a couple of days. It's gonna arrive fresh, not nasty and gassy like they have at the grocery stores, right? So quit doing that and support a local small business here in Augusta that just got started. They love coffee, they love golf. They got some great flavors in there, including new flavors from me and Pat personally. My hazelnut blend. Pat's got whatever he's doing. I don't know. I don't really care, but I guess I'll show you. I'll show you what we're working with. Here's mine. Okay, the large bucket of nuts. It's a hazelnut blend. It's beautiful. Okay, you can order that, or you can try and order Pat's if you want the bump and run, which is an espresso Milano kind of flavor. Check that out. And if you use promo code TJ2, then you can, if you order 2 bags of coffee, then you get a sample of each one of me and Pat's, and then you get shipping for a grand total of like 36 bucks. That covers the 2 bags of coffee, the 2 samples, and shipping. Coffee that'll last you for a good long time, and it's fresh, and we appreciate our friends at Front Nine Coffee, so check that out. All right, my final play for in terms of the sleepers here is $9,200 Dustin Johnson. Now, listen, when we recorded the podcast, I wasn't really going to play DJ. I wasn't really interested. Pat was. We definitely thought he would be one of the lower owned players here, and it's looking like that's the case. I think he's going to be anywhere between 8-10%. Maybe gets bumped up a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be much. He's coming off his third place finish in Portland, an eighth place finish in London for the Live Golf event. And you question, okay, does DJ carry? Just got broke off what, 100 million, 150 million dollars from Live? Well, yeah, I mean, I do think that's a factor. But again, I go back to the old course, the 150th Open Championship is different. If this were the PGA, if this were maybe even a US Open, which he's already won, if this were the Masters, like I don't know, but the 150th Open at St. Andrews has a different cachet to it. You know what I mean? And I think DJ is one of those guys who, I mean, how much does his care level, his give a rip meter change from week to week anyway? I just don't know that that it does. What I found really interesting is that when you look at the books, he is a heavy favorite against Brooks Koepka, which Brooks is maybe a different animal. Colin Morikawa, Sam Burns, and Terrell Hatton. I'm talking heavy favorite in the head-to-head markets over those players. I find that very interesting. The one line that he's not a heavy favorite in, but he's still a slight favorite, is against Tommy Fleetwood, which I love Tommy Fleetwood this week. I can't believe DJ's that much of a favorite against guys like Morikawa, Sam Burns, and Terrell Hatton, and then a slight favorite against Tommy Fleetwood. And these are market making, line setting books. These are not copycat head to head books. DJ is very, very interesting here. When you think about his upside is obviously winning, right? Like he's got true winning upside. He's that talented of a player. And like Patrick Reed, hasn't had the sharpest year here either. But I mean, excuse me. Good Lord. I need a Miller High Life, huh? All right. Gain strokes in difficult conditions, in the windy conditions, all that jazz. 24th at the U.S. Open was the most recent play event we've seen him play here on the PJ Tour. Let's look at the Open Championship record. It's pretty solid. He played here in 2015, finished 49th. He's got some top tens. He's got a T12 in 2014. Hasn't been great the last few years. 51st miscut, 54th. Not great for DJ, but also not terrible. $9,200 DJ. I'm just saying, like, now the touch and the play around the greens is definitely concerning, and we've seen that it's not been great here lately. That part is probably the most concerning part about DJ, but the upside is too attractive for a guy at around 8%, 10% with that kind of firepower. It's enticing. So there you go. There you have it. 3 sleepers. Thanks for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, enter the contest. Let's have a great week, and may your screens be green. See ya.